I will handle this. We are looking for my drugs.
What you want? I got ketamine, meth, MDMA, Adderall, Bromo Dragonfly, heroin, coke, crack, codeine, oxys, perks, Vikes, PCP, LSD, Dilaudid, mescaline, mushrooms, bath salts, cortisone, Toradol.
A few moments later.
I got Molly, I got her sister Sandra, I got Big Frank, I got birth control, I got Plan B, I got that morphine from China they took off the market. Shit to make your dick hard, shit to make your dick soft, shit'll find your dick.
A few inches later.
That shit there's from Kenya. It's supposed to be a scurvy cure, silverback gorillas, but for humans it just makes them violently masturbate. Did I say crack? Because I got more of that too.
Crack already.
I got some ibuprofen, aspirin, I got Flintstone gummies if you want.
48 hours later.
For me, she asked him if he's okay, so he must have known I was over there. I texted and I said I was going to your house. And he told her to tell me to get out. Oh my god.
16 paranoia-filled days later. The following day.
2 incidences of when I was on meth, unknowingly at first. And once I was aware, I kind of just didn't care. Hey guys, what is up? I tried to do an Instagram live, but
These bitches is petty, 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 petty. Most of these bitches is petty.
Bitch. Yes, it's your girl Paige back at it again with yet another video for you hoes. Right, today we are going to be talking about Trisha Paytas. Yes, I know, I've gone like, what, 3 whole videos without talking about Trisha Paytas and now I'm back to her. Well, we have got a lot to discuss. Recently, at the back end of last month, Trisha Paytas had talked about opioid addiction as well as an instance where she had taken methamphetamine on more than one occasion. So we're going to be taking a look into all of that and having a look at what the court of public opinion is in regards to Trisha Paytas's alleged drug addiction and if she might be using this as a manipulation tactic in order to make people forget about the current drama that she is involved in. But before we get into all of that, please do not forget to hit that like button and hit that subscribe button with the bell so that you don't miss any other updates from the Petty Paige channel. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so on Wednesday the 29th of May, Trisha Paytas released a video on her YouTube channel titled I'm Pissed. The video is in response to videos made by her primarily by Peter Mon and the Rewired Soul. In the video, Trisha Paytas is clearly upset by the things that these two men have said, and Trisha's main gripe seems to be that both Peter Mon and the Rewired Soul work in mental health in some capacity, and she thinks that comments made by them about her would be very unprofessional, unhelpful, and possibly dangerous if it was said to one of their patients or clients. But in order to understand this, we also need to understand exactly why Trisha Paytas might have a heightened level of emotions, and that's because of what has been going on with her recently. So let's take a brief recap into what has happened with Trisha Paytas thus far. Recently, Trisha Paytas has been in the headlines or thumbnails of all of the drama channels and the commentary channel videos. The catalyst to all of this was starting with the M3TH Productions video on Instagram versus reality. In this video, Ethan Klein ranted about how women on Instagram are all using Photoshop and don't really look like their pictures in real life. Honestly, I don't know how old Ethan Klein is, but it seems as if he's just discovered Facetune. Not only did the information in Ethan's video come as a surprise to absolutely no one, his video is just one massive big contradiction, kind of like a look how bad these women look in real life compared to their photographs. They're fucking disgusting. And then going on to say things like, I don't understand why these women use so much Photoshop. Maybe it's because arseholes like you judge women and call them all sorts of vile things and make them feel bad about themselves. You know, like calling a woman a whale while simultaneously wanting her to do better and to love herself.
The one on the left is on the beach, the one on the right just washed up on the beach. Sorry, again, I'm not trying to shame anybody. I'm just saying, come on, people, let's get a grip here.
Somebody throw Shamu back in the ocean. Wow.
Okay, let me get you something else. Let me go and see if there's some help out there. Some professional help. You need professional help. Hang on.
Anyway, 2 days later, we have the whole Nicocado Avocado situation where he released a video called Exposing Trisha Paytas with Receipts, followed by 2 more, which I already did videos on, and you can check that out. I'll leave them linked down below. Okay, so what's the current thesis? Well, let's start with Peter Mon. On the 28th of May, Peter Mon released a video called Let's Talk Trisha Paytas, a response to one of Trisha's videos coming off opioid addiction, in which she talks about her current struggle coming off opioid/opiate addiction. Trisha doesn't mention exactly which drug it is that she is addicted to, but judging from her using the term opioid rather than opiate, it's more than likely that she was talking about a semi-synthetic or synthetic drug. The difference being that an opiate is a naturally occurring substance that comes from the opium poppy, such as codeine or morphine. Opioid refers to drugs that also bind into the same receptors as opiates, but do not occur naturally, such as oxycodone or hydrocodone. I think that's how you say it. Listen, y'all know I'm not the best at pronouncing shit, so just search those words, figure it out yourself. Some people, however, do use the term opioid as an umbrella term for both opiates and opioids. Trisha's video has garnered a lot of criticism, the main reason being that what she said in her video doesn't quite add up for a number of reasons, a lot of which Peter Mon touches on in his video. He begins the video by saying that he wasn't sure that he wanted to make this video, but not because he's been friendly with Trisha or because he's done collabs with her in the past, but because of how he never knows whether she is okay at the moment or if she pre-records a lot of her videos. So while she may appear to be upset/depressed/struggling mentally, that video could have been recorded weeks ago and she is actually okay now. He also worries that a lot of what she does and says is trolling, so it's hard to know when it's sincere. And he used to find it funny when it was less serious issues, but now that she could be possibly trolling about mental health/drug addiction/withdrawal, it's serious now.
In the past, I've said that I thought it was funny, I thought it was enjoyable, and that was when the trolling was really, I would say, not about super serious things, or things that really were about her letting us into her world. This is different, okay? This is about addiction, this is about recovery, this is about withdrawing from addiction, this is about detox, and this is very, very scary to me.
In fairness, I think that Peter does have a point when it comes to Trisha's trolling. Trisha is a known troll, and it can be really hard to know whether she's being genuine or not. This is actually a point that Primink made in his most recent video about Trisha Paytas. Take a look.
Because if my knowledge of Trisha serves me right, this whole video was a troll. We have the weird description, the tearless crying, and she made up with H3 within a week. I'm 99% sure it was a troll, and I can't defend trolling Trisha.
Okay, so let's take a look at the video briefly to see if this is a product of trolling Trisha or whether we do believe that Trisha may be telling the truth when it comes to talking about her own personal opioid addiction. Okay, so Trisha starts off by saying that she's had addictions to pain pills in the past, which she's talked about on her channel before. Now, as you can see from these screenshots, this has not been something that Trisha has kept to herself. She has most definitely spoken about drugs, drug addiction, etc. on her channel in the past. And this is once again something that invalidates the whole theory of her actually having a drug addiction, because she trolls, and she's trolled frequently, and she's trolled about this specific topic. She's trolled about the fact that she had a drug addiction or she has a drug addiction. Now, I know that there's laughter in reality, but is this a reality for Trisha Paytas? Well, I'll leave that up to you to decide.
And hopefully it won't be busted for drugs anytime soon. Never mind, remember, hugs, not drugs. Drugs are for thugs.
Okay, so there's lots of reasons why Trisha's videos on opioid withdrawal wasn't really believed. Number one, opioid withdrawal usually lasts between 5 to 7 days, the worst being the 3rd day, usually before gradually becoming better. Number two, symptoms include extreme restless legs. This is the phase where kick the habit comes from. You literally have to keep moving your legs constantly, otherwise that awful crawling, painful but not painful but uncomfortable, kind of like itching on the inside feeling will not stop. Sometimes your entire body is restless and you can't get comfortable at all because you can't stay still. A lot of other symptoms are like flu-like symptoms. You even get the chills, goosebumps. That's where the whole going cold turkey comes from, along with your entire body hurting as your brain receptors scream for some kind of opioid that your body was once getting, plus the depleted amount of dopamine in your system, which makes you just feel miserable. Okay, so here are some reasons that people think that Trisha wasn't really withdrawing from some kind of opiate or opioid. Number one, her pupils aren't tiny. In fact, throughout the video, they are quite large. This is unusual for somebody taking opiates and withdrawing from them because usually the pupils are much smaller and don't tend to get bigger a little while after withdrawing. As you can see in this particular picture, her pupils are quite large. Number two, she claims to be on day 18 of no pills, which could explain why her pupils look completely normal. But the problem is, after 18 days, nearly all physical symptoms would be gone.
So, no pills for 18 days.
There is something called post-acute withdrawal syndrome, also known as PAWS, which is used to describe the post-withdrawal symptoms, which is mostly about mood. So you can experience anxiety and depression, but not usually the full-blown withdrawal symptoms that you would get during the first 5 to 7 days. Number three, she says that she's been throwing up a lot, and it really hit her within the last week. And she's been throwing up especially at night.
It's been a struggle at night mostly. I throw up a lot. And then I really started hitting me this past week. I started feeling run down.
If we're very generous and go back to an entire week, that means that she started getting worse on day 11, which is 4 days after the physical symptoms would be pretty much gone. And that doesn't really make sense unless she had gradually decreased the amount of opiates it was that she was taking over the 18 days, which would be pretty fast. But she states in the video that she hasn't had pills for 18 days. Number four, she says that she's used alcohol in the past to combat withdrawals, but it seems like most people with experience of withdrawals and alcohol think that it's probably not the best idea.
And in the past, when I felt run down, I would just drink, because drinking I don't feel as dependent on, because I don't ever have to drink enough to be drunk, as opposed to painkillers. I feel like I take a lot to get numb.
Number five, in the video, her legs are remarkably still for someone claiming to go through withdrawal. That's very unusual considering the RLS, or restless leg syndrome, is one of the worst symptoms to deal with. If she is withdrawing, her legs are probably constantly bouncing or moving in some way. Number six, she talks about the last time that she was in hospital, which she describes as not ending well because they gave her a drug called Ativian, which is a benzodiazepine. She was upset because she didn't want drugs in her body, but benzodiazepines are a completely different class of drugs to opioids. So it seems strange that she would be so upset unless she had an addiction to that too, which is a far, far, far more dangerous addiction. The withdrawals can cause grand mal seizures and death. Or perhaps she doesn't really know that they are different because she's not really addicted to drugs. Pretty much every comment on that video was people calling her out for lying before obviously she made the comments, and a likes to dislikes ratio unavailable. Absolutely nobody was buying what she was saying, and to be honest, I don't blame them. Some people said it made a mockery of people truly going through withdrawal, and it does. There is a huge opioid crisis in the US and in the UK, thanks to doctors overprescribing opiates and opioids. So it's easy to get addicted to these kind of medicines too. That's why here in the UK, all over-the-counter products that contain codeine have warnings telling you not to use for more than 3 days because it doesn't take long to become addicted at all. It is so easy. But wait, is Trisha actually on meth? Well, no, probably not. But she did talk about it on her Patreon. She said that she was. But then again, this is Trisha Paytas that we're talking about, so she probably watched an episode of Breaking Bad and decided that she was on meth. I'm pretty sure next week we'll get a video detailing on how that she's the meth queen of LA because she needs money for her wife's cancer treatment because she's a lesbian again today.
I can't even believe that I'm talking about this, but I decided to put it behind the Patreon wall because my podcasts are kind of like a safe space for me. They don't get as much judgment. No one can accuse me of trying to talk about it for views or money. because it doesn't matter how many listens it gets on a Patreon. It's the same. It's the same every month. It's $1 every month for everybody. They get everything. So it just felt like a safer place to post about 2 incidences of when I was on meth unknowingly at first. And once I was aware, I kind of just didn't care.
Her explanation of why she put it on Patreon was great too. She says it's a safe place where she doesn't get judged as much, and also that nobody could accuse her of doing it for views or money. But maybe it's just a cynical part of me, which is all of me, is thinking that maybe she hid behind the Patreon paywall so that more people sign up to her Patreon so that she gets more money that way. Trisha likes her money. Now, literally at this point, I have scoured the internet to try and find this original Trisha Paytas video where she was talking about her alleged meth addiction. That video has been gone from YouTube, and also the podcast of which she details the whole situation about being on meth has now also been taken away from her Patreon. So I've searched high and I've searched low, and any instance of Trisha Paytas actually talking about being involved or being addicted to methamphetamine is gone from the internet. So are you hiding something? Are you lying? Was it the truth and you got bombarded with hate? Like, I'd like to know the thesis. Anyway, the Rewired Soul also made a couple of videos on it, but I mean, at this point, talking about the Rewired Soul and his opinions on Trisha Paytas would be the equivalent of asking John Cookie what he thinks about Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. Like, bitch, nobody actually cares. Personally speaking, for me, from my point of view, I have friends and I have family members who have been or who still are drug dependent. And for me, some of the symptoms of which she is saying that she is exhibiting or has exhibited just aren't adding up to me personally, because it's not something that I have visually seen. You know, whenever I've seen somebody go through rattling and going through being ill and in the height of their withdrawal, it is usually like the first 5 days, bitch. And then after that, it kind of dwindles. Like, so many drug addicts say that giving up drugs isn't the hardest part. It's staying away from it that is the hardest part. So personally speaking, all of her talks about her physical dependency would not actually be neither here nor there. It would be disassociating from the same people who were around the drugs if it was something that was recreational. Or maybe if it's a prescription drug addiction, then, you know, speaking to your doctor, telling them that you have an addiction to this drug and telling them that you wish to be prescribed something different. I don't understand why this is not something that she would have spoken to her GP about. It feels like there was no consultation with her general practitioner and she just went ahead and decided to go cold turkey, which I don't think anybody would advise. When your body can become dependent on a drug, sometimes going cold turkey is not the best thing to do because you can shock your body. That's why things, especially when it comes to heroin and stuff like that, that's why things such as methadone exist, because you can't just go cold turkey sometimes. Sometimes you need that little bit of help. Not saying that people can't just go cold turkey and let it happen for them, but that you put yourself in an increased risk when you do. And that is just a given. But no, from my personal experience, being around and knowing people who have taken drugs and who have had drug dependency issues, none of it is really adding up to me. And it's a little bit suspect to me that now that she has been open on a public platform speaking about her alleged methamphetamine addiction, it just seems so weird that now she's trying to get rid of the Instagram videos that have been put out there and re-uploaded. On her Patreon, the podcast is no longer available, and on her YouTube channel, when she uploaded a video regarding meth, that also has now been taken down. It makes me wonder, what have you got to hide, sis? You know? But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, as per always, tell me what it is that you guys think in the comment section down below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you don't, I don't give a shit anyway. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification with the bell so that you guys get a notification every single time that Petty Paige posts new content. Personally speaking, I don't know whether it is Trisha Paytas herself or Trisha Paytas' team that are trying to hide the fact that she ever did methamphetamine. And a deep-seated part of myself questions if she ever really did, or if this is just another grab for attention from dear old Trisha. But that is just my humble opinion. And don't forget to form your own, because I'm just petty. Bye, guys.
Petty, 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 petty. Most of these bitches is petty.